Alright, this is going to be a very boring video for most people. I completely understand that. You have been warned. All I'm going to do in this video is drive around and talk about what it took for me to purchase this Camaro ZL1. I actually went back and forth quite a bit whether or not to even make this video, but when I was going through the process, video like this that other people have made were actually very helpful to me. So I decided if I just go forward with it and do it, and even one person gets any help or satisfaction out of the video, then I did my part to pay back to the community. So here we are. Alright, now that you all have been warned, if you don't want to hear about a Camaro buying experience, click off, close the video now. So let's get into this. So my process on buying this car started happening in early of 2022. So I had heard that, you know, Camaro weren't gonna Chevy weren't gonna can the Camaro. And that went devastating to me. The ZL1, my dream car. I've been trying to get my ducks in a row for years in order to purchase a ZL1. So that was very bad news for me, because here's why. So they were saying the 2023 might be the end of year, if not the 2024. I know that being a regular consumer, not wanting to pay stupid outrageous rates over MSRP and everything else, that my probability of getting a end of year, a final year production car was slim to none. Let's just call it what it is. It's not going to happen. So there it was in the beginning, you know, January, I guess, maybe December of 21, January of 22, right around there, freaking out that I'm not going to be able to get my dream car unless I pull the trigger on it right now. And I was nowhere near where I wanted to be in order to purchase the car. I wanted to save up, you know, $10,000, $20,000 maybe. I thought I had years. Honestly, I thought I had years. But there we were. So I had to do something. So I got on the phone. I decided, you know what, I can afford the payments without a down payment. That's not a problem. Let me just go ahead and do this. And instead of saving up a down payment, I'll just, you know, make double payments or pay more than what the actual payment was. Yeah, I'll pay some more in interest, but ultimately it'll be the same thing. So I got on the phone. I live in Colorado Springs, Colorado. I got on the phone, the closest Chevy dealership to me at Mike Maroon. I think I'm pronouncing that right, but Maroon Chevrolet. So I call them and say, hey, I want to custom order a Camaro ZL1. Will you take that order? What's the likelihood of me being able to purchase this car? They said, yeah, we won't even take the order. They said that it's not going to happen. They're not even willing to take the order. Chevy is way behind on all their production of Camaros. If you followed along at all, you know that there's just thousands of them sitting on the lot, either waiting on parts or waiting on shipment. Just that's the process that I got. It's not going to happen from Mike Maroon. So luckily Colorado Springs is big enough that there's another Chevy dealership in town, Daniel Long Chevrolet. So I said, you know what, they always have cars up there on their lot. Shoot, I've seen a couple ZL1s in their showroom. They have the new C8s. Yeah, they're marked up like crazy. $30,000 market adjustment on the C8s when I was looking at them. Not to buy, just to spectate, to view. So I said, you know what, they probably get more allocation. Maybe they can help me out. So I gave them a call. So I call up Daniel Long, and salesman Ben answers the phone. I tell Ben, hey, I want to see about ordering a ZL1. What do you guys require? Are you even able to do it? Yada, yada, yada. Ben said, let me talk to my sales manager and give you a call back. Surprisingly, he calls me right back. He says, yeah, sales manager said, no problem, we can custom order a ZL1. I'll be honest with you, throughout the entire process of purchasing that car, I was super cynical and skeptical about the entire process. So anyway, I say, all right, Ben, what do you guys require for down payment? We went through all that. We settled on a figure. I wasn't going to pay what they were asking me to pay just to order a car. We settled on something a week later. I went in, ordered a 2022 Camaro ZL1 the exact way I wanted it. So the ordering process happened the end of February of 2022, and I ordered a 2022 car. So a couple months go by, and I'm reaching out every couple weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, just to see, you know, where my car's at in the process. And eventually I get the bad news that I thought I was going to get anyway, that Chevy is about to retool for the 2023s. They drew a line. Everybody above that line gets a car. Everybody below that line is SOL. Well, I was below that line. It was right around this time that, you know, I've seen Chevy still hasn't said when the final year of the Camaro is going to be, but it looked like it wasn't going to be 2023. So I'm like, okay, well, they're going to retool. Maybe I still have a chance. I'll just go back through the process of a 2023. It sucks, but it's my only choice. So I don't remember if it was at that moment or if it was a little bit later, you know, maybe a day later. I don't really remember. It could have been at that moment that he called me, because Ben called me and told me the bad news about my car wasn't going to be built. So I don't remember if it was that conversation or maybe the next day. I don't remember. But he said, hey, Daniel Long has an allocation for a 2023 ZL1. We don't know what that looks like. We don't know pricing. We don't know anything about the car, if there's going to be any changes. But we do have an allocation for it. Would you like to transfer your down payment onto that allocation, and we'll just order the car that you wanted? So this is happening, I think, around April, May, maybe even into June, somewhere in those summer months. So I had already been waiting on my car for months, you know, knew that was going to be the problem. But I said, absolutely, Ben. Again, I became pretty cynical about it and said, you know, well, we agreed when I originally ordered the car, when I called them, they were going to only charge me $1,000 over MSRP to custom order it. And some people may say I would never pay over MSRP. I was willing to pay $1,000. ZL1s were going for $5,000 to $10,000 over MSRP, and that's not custom ordering it. That's buying whatever the dealership has on their showroom. The market adjustments on cars these days are crazy. So I said, yeah, I absolutely want to move that over, especially if you have an allocation, because that's going to greatly increase my chances of getting the car. But what are you guys going to charge me for it? And he said, oh, no. Same deal applies, but we don't control MSRP. I said, I completely understand that, Chevy does, but you're telling me that you'll use your allocation. Daniel Long Chevrolet will use their one allocation. I don't know how many they get a year or whatever, but this one allocation for a 2023 ZL1, and you're only going to charge me $1,000 over MSRP. He said, yep, that's what I'm telling you. And I said, all right, Ben, then yeah, absolutely, I want to transfer it over. So months started going by, you know, days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and I was getting super cynical about it. I had seen that they were still having problems shipping out the 2022s. So here they are, supposedly Chevy at the Camaro plant in Lansing, Michigan, was producing 2023. They're rolling off the assembly line floor, and they still hadn't shipped out the 2022s that dealerships and customer had both ordered. So at this point in time, two things are kind of happening. So my build sheet is going through the process of Chevy and Camaro and going through the process. So Chevy accepted it, and then eventually it said that, you know, it was loaded in the computer, and it was going through the process. But in the back of my mind, I was thinking, why would a dealership in their right mind use their allocation on a car that they're only going to make $1,000 over MSRP, whatever that equals to, you know, their total price? I don't know. But why would they do that when they could sell it for 10 grand over MSRP? So I started looking and seeing what Camaro were sent, you know, due to be sent out for the 2022s. Around that time, the price listing for the 2023 came out, and I learned that I was going to be paying $3,700 more MSRP. So almost 4 grand more plus $1,000 over MSRP equals almost a $5,000 market adjustment on a 2022, because they're the same car, just the year is different. So realistically, I'm paying $5,000 more for the car, just in a different way. So I start thinking about this, trying to be logical about it, and start thinking, you know what, a Camaro ZL1 better than no Camaro ZL1. And I know I wanted my perfect dream car, but that might not happen. And if I don't pick one up soon, then I'm never going to be able to get one. I won't be able to afford one. I'm not going to pay $100,000 for a Camaro in the used market after the things stop being produced, and they're just stupid outrageous. I mean, I would love a 1968 or 69 Charger. I'd love a 71 Challenger. I love a 70 or 71 Cuda. I don't have them car. I can't afford them. So I get on the old interwebs and start looking up on Chevy website. You know, you can build out your car and then search for local cars. And I see a couple cars in transit in my local area. I might have to drive 10 hours or fly, pick it up and drive it back. But I found a couple dealerships that were asking $5,000 market adjustment for a 2022, which is right around what I'm going to be paying anyway. So I start having reservation about, man, I really think that Daniel Long is going to rake me over the coals on this. They're going to get the car in, and they're going to bring me paperwork, and the price is just going to be through the roof. So I honestly start seriously considering not my dream car. It's not the right color, or it has the sunroof. I would not get an automatic. I want the 6-speed. Hate me in the comments, I don't care. I want the 6-speed. So that's one thing that I would not give on. But I start searching around, and I'm seriously thinking about jumping on a plane, going and buying a car in Salt Lake City, and then driving it home. And then if my car ends up being built and delivered to the dealership, then I'll just trade in whatever I have. Heck, I might even break even on it. So before I decided to do that, before I decided to pull the trigger on doing something ridiculous like that, I decided I'm going to call myself and Ben, and I'm going to hash this out, and I'm going to tell him what my fears are. So I called him and I said, look, Ben, here's the deal. I have the gut feeling that when this car comes in, that you guys are going to slap a $5,000 to $10,000 market adjustment on it, and you're going to tell me, well, if you don't like the deal, you don't have to buy it. That's what I feel like you're going to do. And he immediately said, absolutely not. We are a dealership of our word. Mind you, none of this is in writing. The only thing in writing was when I built the car, Ben printed out the build sheet that you can do online, like on the Chevy website. And he said, this is the car you want? I said, yeah, that's the car I want. He had me sign, and he wrote down that I paid him $1,000 down. That's what I gave for down payment to order it, $1,000. So that's the only thing in writing at this point. So Ben assuring me that they're not going to do that. They're a dealership of their word. I ordered it at the perfect time, supposedly, and their sales manager said that they're only going to do $1,000 over MSRP. I said, Ben, do you realize that this is my dream car, and if you guys don't go through with this, you've ruined it for me for the rest of my life. Like, I'll never be able to purchase or afford one of these cars. And I wanted it brand new. I finally wanted a car brand new that I'm going to keep for the rest of my life. So anyway, that happens. then about a month later, my car gets loaded into the build floor computer, or whatever it was, whatever that code was. It went loaded in the computer to be built on the floor. I don't know what to call it. But, so I start getting really excited. I know I'm not being precise on the dates and stuff, but I'll tell you all as this going through exactly how long the entire process took. But, you know, that it went loaded onto the build floor or whatever it was. And that process happened. Then that took about a month. I want to say about a month. And then, surprise, your car's done. Okay, great. But then it's sitting there waiting for transport. And I know everybody fell into that category. I'm one of them. It was sitting there waiting for transport. I don't know what kind of transport. I know that I can't go up there and pick it up, or else I would have. I would have done whatever I had to do to get this car and get it home. So that sits there for about 2 months. And then one of the weeks, at that point, I was calling my salesman Ben about every week, saying, hey, what's the status update? Because now the car's built. We're not waiting for that anymore. We're waiting for him to get it from Michigan to Colorado. So I'm calling him every week. About 2 months go by, and he said, yep, it's been loaded, that you actually have transport. We can see that now. We don't know exactly when, but it's going to be on its way soon. So it starts coming to Colorado. Then it gets to Denver. Then it has to wait for transport down to here. Long story short, the transport thing probably took about a week, and it arrived a couple days early. I get a call while I'm at work saying, hey, I think I got a call on a Friday, and it was supposed to be down here on Monday. I get a call on Friday, hey, it's here. I'm going to have my guys jump on this right away. Give us a little bit of time, and you can probably pick it up today. I said, hey, I'll be on my way right after work. You know, have it until 5, 6 o'clock, and then I'll let you know when I'm on my way. So I show up to the dealership, and Ben's there. The car's nowhere to be found, you know, nowhere to be seen, whatever. He said, yeah, it's in the back. They drive it around, they pull it around. It's the car that I ordered. I only got 2 upgrades on that car. I did get the Riverside Blue Metallic, which is an upgrade, but that's the color I got. And then for the 2 upgrades for the car, I got the visible carbon fiber weave, and I don't know if you can see that, the red seat belts. Those are the only 2 upgrades I paid for this car. I'm lying. I was an idiot and got the battery tender. Don't get the battery tender. All it is a cheap $40 battery tender with the word Camaro on it, and they charge you like $180 for the word Camaro. So, well, 140, 180 total. So don't buy the battery tender if you're going to buy this car. Anyway, so I see the car for the first time. It's kind of getting dark, which sucked, because then I can't go over it with the fine-tooth comb, but whatever. Not like I'm not going to accept the car anyway, unless it had a big, huge dent, which I can see in dusk or not. So I kind of look over the car and stuff. I'm like, all right, let's do some paperwork so I can just get out of here. I need to go home, pick up my wife, have my wife, you know, drive back down here, and then have my wife drive my truck home, and I can drive my car home. All that's going to take time. Let's get on some paperwork. So here comes Ben with some paperwork. Now, mind you, the original car that I built, the 2022, I think it was sitting at $67,000, right around there. So in my mind, I'm like 3,700. You know, I'm looking at 71,000 plus tax or whatever, plus their $1,000 fee. But I pretty much already paid that in a down payment. So that's a number that I'm expecting to see on this paperwork. So Ben sits down with a paper that's an itemized list, and my eyes are right away drawn to the very bottom number, the very bottom figure, and that figure like in the 80s, 84, 87, something like that, and my heart sinks. I get the knot in my stomach. I felt like I wanted to throw up, like instantly. I haven't felt like that since maybe I was a kid. instantly I wanted to throw up. I'm like, it happened. And right away I threw my hands up and I'm like, what is this? And he's like, oh, this is just a pricing list, and he tries to explain it, and I cut him off. I'm being kind of rude. I'm normally a really nice person, but right now I'm being kind of rude. And I'm like, no, Ben, what if the number on that car? What if the final number on that car? Because you guys said you were a dealership of your word, and you weren't going to do that, and that number said 84,000. He's like, oh, well, this is just a list of options if you choose to select them. And I'm like, oh, that's what this is. All right, let me calm down. Let me take a breath. All right, let's go through your itemized list. So like windshield replacement, ceramic coating. There was just the whole tire protection package. There was a whole list of stuff that I didn't want. So I was like, let's just say no to all that and then bring me the real figure of the car. And that's what he did. He had me sign the paper saying that I declined all of it, and then he took the paper back and brought me an actual paper of the car. And sure enough, surprising heck to me, was the actual figure that we had talked about. It was MSRP plus $1,000. Now that's when I decided to pull my little card out of my pocket and be like, hey, doesn't Chevy give a military appreciation discount? He's like, yeah, they sure do, $500. I thought they were going to decline me on that because of the car and what I had already done in a deal and blah, blah, blah. He said, nope. So we went, filled out some stuff. Long story short, they knocked $500 off of it. So I ended up paying $500 on top of MSRP for this car. Now, I already told you that I put a down payment at the end of February in 2022. I took possession of this car the end of September. I'm talking like the last day of September 2022. So it took, the entire process took roughly 8 months in order to order, build, and get shipped into my possession the car of my dreams. In my book, that wasn't that bad. Now, would I have liked to order the car and get it in a month? Absolutely. And as you can see, it's winter time in Colorado, and I'm trying to put my break-in miles. So I'm not hot dogging my car right now because I'm breaking it in. And I have 200 miles left. I can only drive it on the weekends. Where at work, I'm not going to drive it to work. And the weekend are sparse. It's all about the weather. We got some snow a couple days ago. So that sucked. Would I have liked to have it in the summer? Yes. Would I have liked to get a 2022 and save them $4,000? Yeah. Yes, I would have. But at the end of the day, I want to know what you all feel with this, a good experience or a bad experience. Would you consider that a good experience or a bad experience? Now, I'm still going to give you my personal opinion. I care about your opinion, but I'm going to give you mine. In my opinion, this experience was as good as it possibly could have been given the circumstances. I've heard absolute horror stories and seen video of absolute horror stories with people trying to get this particular car. So in my experience, with everything that was going on with chip shortages and everything else, at the end of the day, it took 8 months. I paid $4,000. Well, we'll call it what, $4,200 more than if I would have bought a 2022 and not had to pay the $500 over MSRP. I also think that the dealership that I dealt with, Daniel Long Chevrolet, did the best job that they could possibly do. Now, I'm not saying that's the same with all their cars, because like I said, they had C8s on the lot in the showroom with a $30,000 market adjustment. I'm not saying that they're above all of that and that they'll do it for everybody. I'm saying in my experience, waiting 8 months, getting charged more money for a newer car, thanks Chevy, and dealing with Daniel Long Chevrolet, at the end of the day, I got my car. It was within the criteria that I was willing to do for payments and everything else. Yeah, so for me, it was a roller coaster of an experience, but the outcome was still amazing. It sucked going through it, but at the end of the day, I got my car. It was exactly what I wanted. I really can't complain based off of the circumstances at the time. But what do you think? Would you be willing to do the same? Would you be willing to pay $1,000 over MSRP? I want to know. Let me know in the comments. So, moving forward, yes, I'm going to be doing stuff with a car. I will be making more videos. I think that there is some positive thing to glean and all that. I'll be doing the 5 things that I hate, 5 things that I like about the car, so forth and so on. I'm also going to do a couple subtle upgrades to the car, and I'll be making like 2 different videos for those. So I'll be doing full install video to help people out if they're looking to do the same thing, and then I'll also be doing like a before and after video for like the exhaust, for example, the exhaust. So the intake, stuff like that, I'll do recording and video of the stock exhaust, and then the aftermarket exhaust that I'm going to put on it, and keep them 2 separate, so you don't have to watch the full install if you're not interested in that and you're just interested on the before after. So with that being said, I'm going to end this one. Thank you very much for watching. If you've stuck around this far, then you're exactly like, you're in the same exact position I was 10 months ago. Hang in there, go through your dealership, have faith, and hopefully it works out as well as it did for me, for you, if not better. All right, anyway, thank you. Thanks for watching, liking, subscribing, commenting, and everything else. Thanks for the love, thanks for the support, and I will see you on the next video.